discussion because we've had a lot of politics going on this week, haven't we?
We have. There's
So
a big shake-up going on indeed.
yeah, so you've got a big shake-up going on in the world of politics at the moment, which is be quite interesting. We've been hearing about Jeremy Corbyn and all that, creating his new party and that. So we heard that tonight, and obviously we've heard about Reform UK and all that too. So there's a few things going on in the atmosphere of politics. There's a shift going on, There's a lot going on in that in the political sphere. Well, I mean, what do you think about Jeremy Corbyn as well? What do you think about him? Like, what's your
Personally,
view on him? Yeah.
I believe the current Labour movement under uh, under Keir Starmer's control, as we speak,
Mm.
wouldn't even last a millisecond if Jeremy Corbyn came back, along with the
Yeah.
cabinet that the current Labour movement had removed in the first place,
Yeah.
because they only removed Jeremy's whip along with his current cabinet, as you will,
Mm.
is because they deemed him as a threat.
Mm.
Because they know deep down within their own conscience, whether they want to admit it or not, Jeremy Corbyn has all of the answers in
Yeah.
regards to restoring balance within the
Yeah.
economic system.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he got quite censored as well. They feared him as well, and they didn't like what he was standing for, and a lot of things as well, which I think has had a huge impact on the party. And I think it's not good news, for the Labour Party in general anyway, because they've been in power for a year. They said all these promises that they were going to do, and then they did the opposite as well, didn't they?
He did, yeah.
The welfare reform stuff that they were going to do. I mean, what do you think about that?
I think personally they're living within the old shadows of Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, and anybody else for that matter that were originally co-aligned with the Conservative to begin with.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying now. Yeah, because I mean, Margaret Thatcher was doing the same thing as well. She was hammering the people.
Yep.
And it wasn't the people's fault.
Nope.
It's the politicians' fault. It's the fault of the MPs and politicians of their expenditure cuts. And it doesn't even make sense to me, the welfare reform, really. I mean, it does make sense a little bit, but it doesn't make sense completely to me, because they're spending about 3 or 4 billion or more in Ukraine, for example, which is doesn't make sense, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
I do indeed. I believe that.
Hello everyone, welcome to the live stream. We do welcome you here. We're just talking about the political sphere and what's going on in UK politics at the moment and how bad it's all going.
The current shake-up that's taking place as we speak.
Yeah, we've just heard about Jeremy Corbyn and that, creating a new party, and we're just saying about how many new parties are going on. There's a shift in the world of politics happening in the UK at the moment, which is for good and bad. It's really shaking up the atmosphere, and all that. So it's we're from the UK, yeah.
Salisbury.
From the UK, yeah. So yeah, but it's very interesting, isn't it, about what's going on in the world of politics at the moment, and that I think it's very important, that we share this information. There's a lot of stuff going on with, like, in terms of our freedom of speech as well, being censored.
Yeah.
Things like that too.
See, that's another thing I want to get to the bottom of in regards to Keir Starmer as we speak.
Yeah.
He goes on about protecting the free speech of both man and woman, which is great, but at the same time tries to silence those that exploit the current flaws within his cabinet as we speak.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
That's not protecting free speech.
No, it's not at all,
No.
No, it's, and anyone that stands up against him, they'll be ousted from the party, they're all forced to vote in a certain way. It's very, not very free at all, really. I mean, Rachel Reeves doesn't look too happy about what she's done with the welfare reform, you know what I mean?
Well, I've been trying to warn people that if you do evil, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass sooner or later. Once those temporary highs come crashing down and you're left reaping the punishments along with consequences to your actions. And it's within these times where people begin to find out more about themselves than they ever could.
We've got a few comments down in the comment section here. It says, I live in Japan. Another one says, "Hi, how are you?" Yeah, we're doing really well, Builder Bob. We're just talking about the UK political sphere at the moment and how much of a mess it is. I mean, I thought it was already a mess before, and I thought, the Labour Party coming in control might actually change something. But I didn't even vote Labour myself personally, but
I don't vote for any of them, to be honest
as I
with
saw
you.
through their nonsense, to be honest.
Yeah.
What, Ian, you don't vote for them for what
I
reasons?
don't vote for anyone, not even Reform,
Yeah.
due to the fact that personally, if I could have it my way,
Mm.
I would rather vote the gospel in. Now, people are going to think I'm mad or absurd for saying that, but go back
Yeah.
6,000 years ago,
Mm.
who was it that created the heavens and the earth?
God. Yeah.
Who so happened to be made manifest within the flesh as Christ,
Mm-hmm.
because they are both one and the same. They
Yeah.
are the Father and the Son.
Yeah. Well, there is a Christian party, so
That's
I
news to
guess you
me.
can invite that.
Or
But yeah.
news to me, even.
But yeah, I don't know. Really, the whole politics works in quite a different way because you vote tactically in the area and what will win rather than voting for a party that you know won't win. If that makes sense. So that's how politics is. Right. Okay. Nice to see. Right, okay. Cool. Bet the lad with headphones has a snooker cue down his pants. Lol.
Good humour.
Wow. Yeah. I'm assuming he doesn't have that down his pants.
No, I'll be seriously concerned if that was the case. Hello and greetings, by the way.
Oh, hi there. Hello. No HAP lay 23568. Wow, wrong name. Hi there. Sorry, I'm gay. Okay, no problem. Right. He looks like a guy that has a massive penis. Oh, right.
Some things are better left.
Let me just move this. Let's come on. Like, keep the chat sensible. Otherwise, I have to remove you. Keep it. Report you or whatever. Is block you from commenting. So just keep it sensible. But yeah, we're just talking about the politics, reform, whatever it is, isn't it? The whole kind of movement is kind of crazy.
Priorities as well.
Mm.
I'm guilty of this myself sometimes. The current Labour movement under the Conservatives' control, or better yet, our current Labour movement co-aligned with the Conservative cabinet, as you will, don't have their priorities straight.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed as well with Keir Starmer. He's kind of more conservative in his whole approach anyway. A little bit, not wholly. It's quite different in some respects as well. But with Reform UK, they were gathering conservative votes to get more members and votes into the parliament as well. So that was quite interesting. A lot of people that have been ousted from the Conservative Party getting voted into the Reform Party. But all of it's a bit crazy at the moment. I mean, the Jeremy Corbyn thing sounds interesting because you have Jeremy Corbyn in the mix, then it really shakes up everything. Because not everyone's just going to vote for Reform now. They might vote for him too, and you never know really who's going to win out of that. It's that's something I would say about the next election as well. Is in 2028 is that vote freely and vote for what you believe in. Don't vote for what you think will win here and there. I just vote for what you want. Because a lot of people vote for this and that and tactically and all this. Just vote purely on the basis of what you believe in and what you think, because that way you'll get an accurate result. And if everyone did that, they'd actually get a good result and it would shake up everything completely. It wouldn't be like, oh, I think Conservative or Labour will win or might win. Just vote purely on the basis of that you want to have a party to win, not because you want to vote for a particular one or another because you think that or that one will win. But voting freely, voting for who you really truly believe in. And I think actually Labour and the Conservatives have proven to us already that we, can't trust those, So there's no point in even voting for those two parties anyway.
Personally, I believe that...
Say one thing and do another thing, really.
We should have a new government cabinet that offers leadership roles to the young boys and the young men of today's generation in regards to restoring balance within, the economics, as you will.
And also restoring balance in people's behaviour as well. Yeah. I mean, you get, good and bad, like if you implement some sort of authority and roles and giving people a purpose, then they're not going to be like, weak and dumbed down and emotional and all this stuff. Like they'll just be who they truly are, if that makes sense, and not influenced by the social media and all that.
In other words, they have the free will to either abide or to reject
Pretty
the
much.
idea that currently, or better yet, that I'm currently working on in regards to getting out there within the government as we speak.
Yeah,
I'm pushing for a government, like I said, that offers the young boys and young men of today's generation the chance of leadership roles in regards to bettering themselves, but not
That's
only
good.
that, to become real men.
and that
of
also
today.
motivates people as
Yeah.
well. That's another thing that we could encourage people is to be more motivated and to be more outwilling and outgoing.
That's what we really need.
And we need people to be more, take risks and be more confident and stuff like that. Willing to challenge stuff that might not be, good. Like for example, our censorship on our freedoms and all that sort of thing. Willing to stand boldly and firm for the truth and that. And having the foundations in place as well, which I think is very important. Which I think we've been slacking a lot. We've been lacking that a lot in the school system, education, and all that. We've been really lacking on that because teaching and propagating a certain message for us to believe in, rather than for us to think for ourselves and thinking outside the box, and having the biblical principles in place in that as well. That's something I've noticed.
Coming back,
drawing the Bible from the schools and that.
Absolutely. Coming back to the educational side of things, or the education side of things, a lot of educational practices now are teaching young kids from a certain age. What was it called?
Not who they are and all this sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, that as well. I forgot what it's called now. Something to do with sex education. There you go. That's what I was looking for.
Right.
In other words, they're teaching young kids from an early age sex education. I think personally, anyone within the right frame of mind shouldn't be teaching young kids that in the first place within education. I think they should abolish that completely.
What, until what age?
Until they're actually at an age where they're perfectly, what's the word I'm looking for? In other words,
otherwise to be sensible, and if they can reproduce in that, I think it'd be a good age, because they can do stuff that's not sensible and then
an age of accountability and responsibility. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Like, I think personally, a lot within the education system at the minute is outdated, and I think a lot of the stuff shouldn't even be taught in the first place to young kids.
Yeah.
I think
there's loads of stuff that's taught to people that's not even firstly factually true.
Well, yeah.
And then there's things that are more like political and media, all this sort of stuff, rather than actually facts and truth.
No discernment.
Which are not, when you talk about this sort of stuff, you get called a hater and all this, and I don't hate anybody actually. I just I just stand for facts and logic and common sense basically, which is fair enough, isn't it? I mean, people can do what they want to do and stuff, but not everybody should have to follow that, especially when there's some things that are, like, for example, not even making sense, or like, because I uphold English language and all that stuff, so I think it's very important to uphold that, so yeah. But I think we've covered most of the things, haven't we, in this video?
I believe so.
What about finances and stuff? Have you got anything to say about finances and stuff? You said about jobs as well, didn't you, at one point? You said about being able to give us a wage that we rightfully owe and all that.
In other words, yeah, I believe the current tax deductions as we speak are outdated, and it's not giving hard-working families a decent chance in life in order to protect and provide later on down the line.
Yeah, also these finances aren't even being spent properly or even sensibly either.
No.
And also think that business needs to be competitive, and the problem is if you increase the minimum wage too much, then a lot of businesses shut down. But they're increasing rent prices and business prices to the point where businesses are shutting down, and more businesses are actually closing down, and more people are applying for jobs because of the recent pandemic and all that. And more people are applying for jobs, more population, more people, less jobs actually physically there, only online, because a lot of things have gone online now because Amazon came in, and a lot of stuff, like, let's say the home side of You know, most retail shops have now disappeared. Most resale shops have now, you know, you go on the high street and you see like vape shops and gambling shops and things that are addictions. You know, a lot of things have converted onto online, and they haven't really got a solution for that. But they're still trying to, you know, keep the wheels running, even when it's, you know, when even when the WD-40 has been, you know, reduced in that, you know, and you know, better off in the scrap, you know. But they're just trying to get as much juice as they can out of what they can without actually implementing more action, you know. And I think they really want us to be on a universal income, if I'm being honest. And especially with self-service and that, you know, a lot of things are going to AI and technology and all that. So it's quite interesting. I
That
feel.
going back to finance, that's another priority that the government don't have within top place at the minute.
Mm.
Like, I don't have a problem with the government handing out, say, however many millions or billions to other countries, as you will, that are undergoing war,
Oh, yeah, that's
or
financial aid and that's very
physical
important.
collapse and things like this.
Mm.
But it all comes down to priority.
Well,
Like,
yeah, if they're making us suffer,
well,
then that's a problem. And that's
precisely
what's
my
going
point.
on
Yeah,
at the moment.
it
They
should
care
be.
more about outside events rather than fixing the country first,
Yeah,
and then fixing the outside
Yeah.
events, because it should be about us first,
absolutely. Yeah,
and then it should be whatever we can provide after. But it's more like we'll provide for them, but you know, screw over our own citizens.
I
And when we're
believe.
told, well, we can't say that, we can't do that, because we'd rather not do that for you. Basically, if that makes sense.
I
That's what they're
believe
like.
that if they had the priorities straight and they were, you know, putting back funding within the system itself, within the UK borders,
Mm.
and they have everything basically within the balance,
Mm.
only then would I recommend that they actually start contributing financial revenue to other countries that need it as well,
Mm.
in order to put a stop to poverty, you
Mm.
know, and war for that matter.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It all comes down, like I said, to priorities. And if they can't prioritise the UK and the damage that's been done throughout the years,
Mm.
they're not even fit enough to be in power, let alone
Yeah.
control.
I mean, they're trying to fix £1 trillion of debt that they've got into, you know, which is just irresponsible governments. And any government that comes into power is going to find that a very difficult challenge. And they're not going to fix that. But they're just attempting to fix holes while creating new holes as
Doesn't
well.
make any
That doesn't
logical
make any
sense, no.
does it?
No, not at all.
No, and that's the problem with it, and it's getting worse. They make a bigger hole and fill in the rest with a smaller hole, or they target the wrong people or the wrong things because they've made mistakes. Because you know how bad is it? You know, it's good to reform our finances and all that, but how bad is it to, like, say, you know, target vulnerable people, for example, very vulnerable people. Some people aren't vulnerable and they need to address that, but some people are very vulnerable and they're targeting those vulnerable people to fix the problems that they've created, which is wrong. Morally, principally, it's wrong.
Personally believe that if it's genuinely on the government's heads, it should be on their,
Mhm.
you know, heads to actually fix. So in other
Yeah,
words,
well, yeah.
if the
But
government
they're
have
doing it in
actually,
the wrong way, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. They're
if
doing
they-
it targeting the wrong people.
yeah, if they've created something that they know isn't right,
Mm.
it should be the government that fix that,
Yeah.
and not, you know, those of us within the public services, for
Yeah.
that matter, especially the elders. If anything, the elders are actually getting it much worse than the younger generation today.
Yeah.
Like, they're getting hit left, right, and centre,
Well, they are, yeah.
hook, line, and sinker, and all.
Mm.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it really isn't good, yeah.
No.
What way are they getting hit, do you think?
Well, the winter fuel payments, for one.
Well, yeah, they're taking them off in a
Yeah.
way, yeah.
Yep. I mean, one minute they're saying, oh, well, you know, we're going to make a U-turn on that, and, you know, we're going to think on it and come back to the public with an answer as to whether or not we're going to strip that away, or we're going to enforce it so that the elderly can actually have that payment.
I think they should start challenging more the energy companies themselves that are exploiting the fact that prices went up during the pandemic.
Well,
And you know, businesses did the same thing as well. They exploited that, and sometimes, in some cases, things went higher anyway because of wars and stuff. So, and sanctions.
That's using your brain.
But yeah, you know what I mean. Like, it's they should definitely address the energy companies they're definitely exploiting. They're definitely exploiting. I mean, energy prices have gone up, but they've used this to exploit more and more. You can look at British Gas, for example. Look how much bonus he gets a year. He gets about £1 million in bonuses or something stupid like that. It's the same with those gambling shops as well. Those legalised scamming, I call that. But they also have huge bonuses and payouts as well, which is wrong in itself, and they should heighten the win rates on there as well for people. But getting back, we're getting back to finances anyway. It's always been a bit of a struggle because the prices of things have gone up higher than the price of wages going up. National minimum wage has gone up slightly, but the price of stuff is going even higher. Now they're saying they want to match it with inflation, so it's going to be the same. But still, there's a problem. There's always there's a backlog of all the stuff they've missed out on before anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense, does it, to anyone's mind? But it's better than nothing. But they're saying that as if it's a good thing, which it is a good thing from now. But look at all the damage they've caused over the last 30, 40 years.
And also, for the love of God, the government, I mean, I've already shared something, online regarding this. Stop borrowing finance in order to
fund stuff,
fund stuff, as well as the debt that we're in. Like, there are other ways and means to obtain revenue to fix the debt within our society today, other than borrowing.
Yeah, that's a problem, a massive problem.
Yeah, it's just contributing to the arrears that we're already in. If not, it's going to add more to it, up to the point where we can no longer pay off this debt, and the whole economy is literally going to go into liquidation.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And they just keep borrowing these finances that they can't even pay back.
Exactly.
Or they can pay back over what, like 300-400 years or something like that. It's like they're not responsible. It's like ridiculous. Who does that? Who borrows more than they can pay back?
Absolute madness.
That's like getting into debt. I mean, it's not their personal debt. That's why they don't care. But it's the country's debt, if that makes sense. So even though it's not their personal debt, they're just swindling the finances, which affects everybody else. But, like if someone was, let's say, £100,000 in debt, they'd probably be put in prison for that.
Oh, good, yeah.
But because I don't even know what they're doing. No. It's because the government can get away with whatever they want.
Yeah.
Imagine if we could borrow £3 trillion, that's how much the UK's in debt. Imagine if we could borrow £3 trillion and just be like, well, okay. It doesn't make any sense, does it? It makes no logical sense whatsoever. Not the win. No, makes sense anyway. But yeah, I'm going to end the live stream now. But yeah, we covered a lot of stuff in that live. So yeah.
Let us know what you think on the conversation, folks. And if you have any other ideas of your own, be sure to drop them in the link comment box below.
Yeah, comment below.
And we'll get back to you.
We're live and interactive, so do put your comments below. We'll have a look at the comments. So we'll give that a few moments to come through if you've got any comments. But if not, we're gonna end that. But yeah, we'll respond to all your comments if you comment something down below. Let us know what you think about this and that. Do put them down below and let us know. But yeah, it's been an interesting conversation anyway as well, isn't it? It's been a pretty mad conversation. But I don't think anyone's really going to comment because there's only one person watching now. So
you'd be surprised.
Yeah. But yeah. For the live stream anyway, we'll probably end that now. But yeah, thanks for that, guys. All right, that's quite a good video actually.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Too bad.
There you go.